Everything in my life, man, is taken at. I've had to literally like step outside of the ordinary. And it's not even that difficult to step outside of the ordinary either. Because when you look at people, people will say the things that they won't do. You got to be willing to do the things today that others are not willing to do in order to have the things tomorrow that other people just won't have. But people got a lot of, I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do this. I ain't going to do that. I ain't going to do this. I ain't going to do that. Right? So you can fit in a good sized group with the I ain't going to do this and I ain't going to do that. Then don't expect nothing extraordinary. So when I look at my life, even when I'm looking at the Starts Within organization, brother, like man, I had to step outside of the ordinary. I'm doing things that other people ain't willing to do, brother. Man, people ain't willing to do, man, coming and having class on a Friday night, on the weekend, right? I had to drop off my kids. I had to drop one kid off to his mom. I had to drop the other kid off to her mom, right? I had to do all of this stuff. I had to drop clothes over here. I had to take clothes over there, right? Like, I'm all over the place. I'm coming from Pickerington. I'm an hour and a half away. But I built the Starts Within organization from 2011. But the reason why it's still moving along 10 years later is because I've been willing to do the things that others are not willing to do. And Starts Within organization is built is built on the mission of turning the penitentiary on its head and standing the community on its feet. Man, people ain't too excited to, man, back people inside of the penitentiary. When you, as a nonprofit, do you think that people are jumping at my gate saying, man, hey, can I donate this? Can I donate that? No, they're not like that. So I got to grind it out. I got to be willing to do the things that others are not willing to do in order to be able to push the movement forward. And that's why we 10 years later, 2021, and the movement is still pushing forward. Being willing to do the things that others are not willing to do. And people will say, man, dang, Starts Within, still going. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. We got access to all of the prisons. Absolutely right. We got access to the county jails. Absolutely right. Yeah, how'd you do that? Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, you did 10 years in prison. Yeah, absolutely right. And I'm able to go inside of the county jails, work with the sheriffs. I got access to facilities like crazy, right? Absolutely right. Because I was willing to do the things that others weren't willing to do in order to have things tomorrow that others aren't going to have. When I was doing my time inside of the penitentiary, I was willing to do the things that others were just not willing to do. I was willing to literally stay at my bed and study my books. I was in college. I said, I'm going to learn the information that's inside of these books so I can apply it to once I get released. I was willing to do the things that others were not willing to do. I was turning down the weed that was coming off of the visits, and they was my homies too, and they had the good stuff. And I smelled it, and I said, ooh, I remember when I was smoking, but I can't smoke it right now because if I do, it's going to put me in a situation that I don't want to be in, right? So I respectfully declined, right? I was willing to do the things that others just were not willing to do. I didn't go to the hole when I was incarcerated for the whole entire 10 years. I spent my whole 20s inside of the prison. I didn't go to the hole. Well, I didn't get convicted of a whole shot. I went, but I got found not guilty. But I never got convicted of a whole shot when I was doing my 10 years. I was willing to do the things that others were not willing to do. This stuff is simple stuff. I wrote my son once a week. He was 3 months old when I got incarcerated. I wrote him once a week from the penitentiary with the state free letter. Other people, they got those same state free letters. Guess what they did with them? They just threw them to the side or they sold them. They threw them to the side or they sold them. Did they have children? Yes, they did. But guess what? They were not willing to do anything outside of the norm. Was it difficult to just go ahead and commit to writing a letter once a week to your children? No. But people just weren't willing to do it. I was willing to do it. I I was willing to go to the commissary and say, man, let me go ahead and buy that commissary. Let me go ahead and buy that candy off the commissary. I'm going to spend $15 worth of candy, and I'm going to send that candy home to my son so he can go to trick-or-treat with my candy, with the regular size Skittles, with the regular size Snickers, with the regular size Kit Kats. He's going to start trick-or-treat with my candy, $15 worth of candy, and that's when they was hitting for 50 cents. Other people weren't willing to do that. I'm just saying. Because they was like, man, I got to eat. I need to get my tuna. I need to get my soups. I need to get my coffee. I need to get my Kool-Aid. We was able to smoke Black and Milds and cigarettes in it. I got to get my cigarettes. I got to get my smokes. See, they weren't willing to do. I was willing to do what other people were not willing to do. I was willing to do that stuff. I was willing to do that. And because I was willing to do that, when you fast forward to me getting released and me being home, guess what? I got relationships with all of my children. People look at me and say, Los, you ain't paying no child support. I ain't paid no child support since 2008. Ain't no way I ain't paying no child support. And people say, man, I want that, man. But are you willing to do the things that other people are not willing to do? If you want to have the things that other people don't have. Are you willing to do though? Man, Los, man, you got access to your children, man. I got my son 5 days of the week. He go to his mom on the weekends. Me and my daughter's mom, we alternate weeks. Week on, week off. My oldest son, who's 24, when I came home, I got him. When he was 10, I had him. He graduated from our house. He went to high school. He graduated from high school. He went to college, didn't stay, but he did go. Now he's married. He got children of his own. But I was able to instill some of these principles inside of him when I came home. These are the things that I was getting that other people ain't got, and they wondering, and they saying, Los, man, you lucky. That's what they tell me. You lucky, man. You just don't know. Man, it's just because you just, man, I ain't lucked up 3 times. I got 3 different children's mothers, and it's the same situation. I got a shared parenting plan on all 3 of my children. It's the same thing, right? So how did I luck up? You know, people attribute it to luck all day long, but they don't want to go back and look what I was willing to do to get that. Right? Like it was things that I was willing to do, brothers. To warrant a level of freedom. What was I willing to do? I was willing to do what I needed to do to warrant a level of freedom, to where I could go where I wanted to go, when I wanted to go, do what I wanted to do. Like I did those things to pay for that, to pay for this. I am here right now because I want to be here. This is my mission. Nobody's twisting my arm to get me here. I sped to get here. 90 miles an hour on 71 North. Getting here. I want to be here. But I paid for that. So if we want that strong relationship with our children, if we want to be influential with our children, we're going to have to pay for that. We're going to have to pay for that. Nothing in this world is for free. You got to pay for everything in this world. Nothing is for free. Nothing in this world is for free. You're going to have to pay for everything. What are you willing to give up? How bad do you want it? I told him, man, I want to be free so bad. I don't want to be inside of the prison so bad. I'm going to go ahead and stop cussing. Literally, stop cussing. I said, I'm going to do something. I know this is outside of the norm. Why? Because I know that everybody around me is cussing. They're using cuss words. Their whole language is filled up with cuss words. And my language was filled up with cuss words when I got it, before I got incarcerated. So I'm going to start to take away some things that I was doing before I got incarcerated right now. So when I get home, I'm going to be a different individual so I can get different type of results. Because I didn't like the results that I was currently receiving. So I said, I'm going to stop cussing. And people say, Los, man, I remember I was rapping. And they was like, because I was writing my raps too. I was at my bed writing my raps, getting it in. I was like, man, I'm about to get home. I'm about to blaze them. I'm about to go in and sell millions of records. I knew I was about to get it in. Until my homie, he told me, he said, Los, man, that stuff sound old school in the mug. That ain't about to sell. I had to go get a job. But that's another story.